What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Gerald here with you. Another video. What are you guys doing in 7 to 8 months? Perhaps watching the Academy Awards, the Oscars? Are you sitting here 8 months in advance of the broadcast going, I wonder who's going to get nominated for Best Actress? No, that's just me? Let me give you my picks and my predictions for the Best Actress nominees at next year's Academy Awards way too early. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. As I said, I'm doing another Oscars predictions video today. I did one for Best Picture about a month ago. You can look that up on my channel. I'll throw a card up here for you. Over here, I think. I never know what side it's on. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do my predictions for who I think is going to be nominated for Best Actress at next year's Academy Awards. I will eventually do Best Actor, and then I'll do the two supporting categories as well. Now, full disclosure, I'm not going to include everyone. Please don't take this too seriously. I'm not on the Academy. I'm not even an official film critic. I'm just somebody who loves movies and loves the performances that a lot of these actors give over the course of their career to date. Their history with the Academy may have influenced me a little bit as well. But if I'm being honest with you, it's mostly wishful thinking. If I've learned anything of being an Academy Awards lover, is that whatever I wish usually does not happen, except for Parasite. So here we go, guys. I'm going to start at number 10, and I'm going to count down to 1. I'm going to give you my 10th most likely to get a Best Actress nomination, 9th, 8th, so on, all the way down to number 1. Starting at number 10 is Margot Robbie for a film by David O. Russell called Canterbury Glass. This film did not make my Best Picture predictions because I don't know a lot about it. But what I do know a lot about is Margot Robbie and how great of a young, up-and-coming actress she is. She has made it. I don't even know why I say it up-and-coming. Why did I say that? Margot Robbie's made it, guys. She's Harley Quinn. Not only that, her nominations for films like I, Tonya, and then the recognition that she receives with her range in films like I mentioned, Suicide Squad with Harley Quinn. Her performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood got nominated. She was in that film for like 5 minutes. Now, here we go, Canterbury Glass. It revolves around a doctor and a lawyer who form an unlikely partnership. I don't know which is which. I know John David Washington and Christian Bale both star in this movie. I don't know who the lead is. Margot Robbie is the lead. Then you have some supporting performances from Anya Taylor-Joy and Zoe Saldana. So there's other actresses in the movie, but I think it's fair to say, based on the cover art that we've seen so far, Margot Robbie is front and center. The Academy loves her. They tend to nominate her whenever she puts out a movie of notoriety. And David O. Russell gets nominations for his actors. I don't know what it is because I've heard he's a little bit of a, we'll just say, not nice guy, but he gets nominations for his actors. In a lot of his films, whenever they show up, and we have Christian Bale here again in a David O. Russell film, Canterbury Glass, everybody's talking about it, and I think Margot Robbie has a great chance at getting nominated for Best Actress next year. All right, my number 9 most likely to get nominated is a movie that I did mention on my Best Picture predictions, and that's The House of Gucci, directed by Ridley Scott. It stars Lady Gaga and Adam Driver. Lady Gaga is another one, and the Academy loves artists that do more than one thing. So if they are a director and an actor, they get the attention of the Academy. If they're a musician or possibly a Broadway star and they're an actor that gets nominated, they get the attention of the Academy. So Lady Gaga, obviously a well-established musician, a well-established artist who has won Grammys. She's been nominated. She's actually won Academy Awards if you count her song from A Star is Born. She was nominated for A Star is Born. I feel like they love the fact that she can cross over between different audiences and she can bring in some of her music fans. And then obviously the movie fans and the cinephiles are going to love her portrayal in The House of Gucci. She's going to probably be doing this like over the top kind of like impersonation almost of this Italian wife, this, like mob boss wife, kind of like think Edie Falco in The Sopranos, like that kind of over the top, just like almost overacting to a certain extent, but not enough to where it's laughable, but where it's really believable. Because this is a film that takes place in the 1980s as well. So if you have all the aesthetic of the 80s, you have Lady Gaga's appeal on a mass scale from the world of music and from movies. And she's even been in television programs like American Horror Story and some other stuff. She is a very, very talented triple threat, no doubt. I love Lady Gaga. I'm very excited for this project. Ridley Scott is another director that commands nominations for his performers. So I would not be surprised to see Adam Driver's name show up when I do the Best Actor predictions. But I'm going to go ahead and say Lady Gaga has a really good chance. She's in the top 10. She's my number 9 to be nominated for Best Actress. All right, guys. So I was saying at the top in the intro how a lot of these picks are going to be wishful thinking that would literally be a miracle, in my opinion. If this woman gets nominated for the Best Actress, I am going to be ecstatic. And that's the case with a few of these on my list, but I absolutely love Florence Pugh, who did receive a supporting actress nomination recently for Little Women. There's a movie that Olivia Wilde is directing coming out later this year in the fall called Don't Worry, Darling. The Letterboxd synopsis says a housewife living in a utopian community in the California desert uncovers a disturbing truth about her seemingly perfect life. Don't Worry, Darling stars not only Florence Pugh in the lead role, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, Olivia Wilde, who, like I said, is also the director, and Kiki Lane. This is a film that's been touted as a bit of a psychological drama / horror film. We've only got really one amazing image of Florence Pugh on the beach in California, or in the desert, I should say. I love her, and I think that the Academy is noticing that she is a force to be reckoned with. Her performance in Midsommar was easily Oscar caliber. However, they hate horror movies. That's a pure-blooded, full-blown horror movie that Ari Aster did. But Don't Worry, Darling might walk the fine line. I've only got her at my number 8, and she's one of those young actresses that can literally do no wrong. There's a couple more coming up on my list as well. But Florence Pugh for Don't Worry, Darling is my number 8. My number 7 is going to be one that I don't know a lot about, but I love this actress. But I feel like it adds a little bit of diversity to the list as well. So Marion Cotillard, who I love. I think she's great in literally everything I see her in. There's a movie coming out later this year called Annette. Again, Adam Driver's name is lurking there. He's also the lead in this film. It's going to be followed by the lead in House of Gucci. He's in actually a couple other projects that are pretty highbrow as well. So Adam Driver is definitely going to be in the mix when we get to Best Actor. But Marion Cotillard apparently plays his wife or his significant other in this film. There you see on the screen, the Letterboxd description is the story of Henry, a stand-up comedian with a fierce sense of humor, and Anne, a singer of international renown. In the spotlight, they are the perfect couple, healthy, happy, and glamorous. But the birth of their first child, Annette, a mysterious girl with an exceptional destiny, will change their lives. We just got a recent poster art for it that you also saw there. It looks like it's going to kind of be this epic comedy / drama. Adam Driver playing a stand-up comedian is going to be very interesting. And I think Marion Cotillard really grounds a lot of the projects she's in. She's such a beautiful actress that does such an amazing job and has amazing range. I feel like she's really going to be able to show us and show the Oscar crowd what she can really do with this really highbrow, high caliber, high profile film in Annette. A lot of people have been talking about it. I can't wait to see it. I don't have a release day on it, but I think this one is also in the fall, which helps because it's a later release. So I'm going to pick Marion Cotillard as my 7th most likely to get nominated for Best Actress for a film called Annette. All right, guys, my number 6, I almost have to put on my list. And honestly, I should put it higher. This should probably be my number 1 or my number 2. I'm kind of morphing this list in the hopes that 1,000 Academy members are going to see this video and side with me. It won't happen. She is almost undoubtedly going to receive an Oscar nomination for this. And I'm talking about Frances McDormand for The Tragedy of Macbeth, a film by Joel Coen, who is one of the Coen brothers. The film is going to be high profile. Denzel Washington in the lead role. His name will probably come up on my next predictions video. But Frances McDormand has won. She's a multiple winner. She's a multiple nominee. And I've said this before, and actually Frances McDormand said it on the Oscar stage this past award season. Stop giving me awards. She said that in so many words. There's so many young actresses that I'm going to actually be mentioning on this video. I've already talked about Florence Pugh, Marion Cotillard. There's so many young actresses that really harness the same type of passion for film that Frances McDormand has had. She's an amazing actress. I'm not taking anything away from her catalog or the performances that she puts in. She just won for Nomadland. The Academy absolutely loves her. And she seems like a pure soul that's not in it for awards. And that always appeals to not only the Academy, but the general public too, because she's just doing it for the love of doing it. You absolutely can never count her out if she's in any kind of dramatic film that gets a release in the calendar year that's eligible for the Oscars, because they love her and they will almost always nominate her. I put her at my number 6 because my wishful thinking is that they would give it to a few more people that need some notoriety. Frances McDormand's had hers. I feel bad saying that, especially assuming she's going to be amazing as Lady Macbeth. But let's spread the love, guys. That's all I'm saying. But she is my sixth most likely to get nominated for Best Actress, although I would be shocked if she was not in that top 5 at the end of the year. All right, guys, my number 5, here we go. Wishful thinking, Gerald's personal list. My number 5, let's get a nomination for Miss Kristen Stewart. I absolutely love her. She is always doing so much amazing work in the independent film community, and she's been overlooked by the Academy year after year after year. She's possibly running away from her past a little bit with the Twilight films and some other things that she's done that are considered non-Oscar-y or lowbrow. Even if you love them, they're not Oscar films. We have a film called Spencer, directed by Pablo Larraín, who is a director that I love. And the reason I think Kristen Stewart has a really, really good chance this year is it's a biopic, and she's portraying Princess Diana. The success of The Crown just won literally every Globe and Emmy that it was up for, pretty much, for the Princess Di story that plays out in The Crown this season. But also, Pablo Larraín directed Natalie Portman in Jackie. Jackie was a film that I loved, but that's very divisive. But he brought out a performance in Natalie Portman that, in my opinion, is like nothing we've ever seen, with the exception of maybe Black Swan. It's her best performance. And she was a very iconic character in Jacqueline Onassis. Obviously, Princess Diana is very similar, right? Very iconic, very fashion forward, very empowering for women across the world. It's a very similar story to Jackie O in terms of their personality, Princess Di, I mean. And Kristen Stewart, the images I've seen, she's nailing it as far as appearance. And she is a great actress, guys. A lot of people discount her, and she's a very divisive performer. You either love her or hate her. I never understood that. I've always loved her. And like I said, her independent work that she's done, all of it is award worthy in my opinion. I think she finally has a project here that the Academy can get behind because of the subject matter, because of the director that's brought out similar performances in actresses in the past. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Kristen Stewart is my 5th overall possible to get nominated for a Best Actress next year for Spencer. All right, guys, my number 4 comes from a film called Mass, which I also predicted to get nominated for Best Picture. It kind of has that independent, dramatic, kind of just over-the-top, tear-shedding, bawling in the fetal position in the theater vibes, okay? It's about 2 couples dealing with a tragedy, and their lives are intersected in some way. On Letterboxd, it says years after a tragic shooting, the parents of both the victim and the perpetrator meet face to face. It's kind of like a therapy session, as far as I understand it. I've not seen this movie, but I listen to a lot of shows, videos, and read a lot of articles of people that have seen it that I respect in the critical community. And they say that Martha Plimpton absolutely knocks it out of the park in this film. I'm not super familiar with her catalog, and nothing that she's done in the past really jumps out to me. The reason I'm putting Martha Plimpton at number 4 here is because of word of mouth, because I've just heard so much about her performance, as well as Ann Dowd's performance in a supporting role, and then Jason Isaacs in the lead role as well. What I've heard is this is a very performance-heavy movie. It's shot in predominantly one location, from what I understand, and it's shot kind of like a play in that respect. I don't know if it's based on a play, so I apologize. But it really focuses in, and a spotlight is on the performances in this movie as opposed to the technical stuff or the surroundings or whatever. So I feel like the performances have to be top tier, and everything I've heard, they are. So Martha Plimpton is in the lead role. If the Academy loves this movie as much as everyone in the critical community is saying, I see it pretty sure-handedly getting a nomination for Best Actress here, so we'll see. But she's my 4th most likely to get nominated for Best Actress next year. All right, guys, and my number 3 is a film that we just got the trailer for a couple weeks ago, and I literally freaked out. In fact, you can watch the trailer reaction to Last Night in Soho. I'll throw a card up here for you. I never know where to put the cards. Over here somewhere. Last Night in Soho is directed by Edgar Wright. I actually hope he gets a director nomination for this as well. I'm going to put Anya Taylor-Joy as my number 3 most likely to get nominated for Best Actress. She is literally perfect in everything I've seen her in. Flawless in everything I've seen her in. You could list The Witch, poster behind me, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. You could talk about her recent run on Netflix in The Queen's Gambit, which was a miniseries that she was phenomenal in. She can play in different time periods. She can play current, future. She has such range and is growing so much as an actress. A very formidable young actress in Hollywood right now that is in 3 or 4 different projects. Now, the problem with Last Night in Soho is Thomasin McKenzie's also in that movie, and she's also a great actress. I was introduced to her in a film called Leave No Trace, which I loved a few years ago, and it didn't get nominated for, I don't think, anything. If it did, it was very little. She was also in Jojo Rabbit. She was great in that. Other things I know her from, like The King with Timothy Chalamet. So the problem is, who's the lead here? Because if you watch the trailer, they're both extremely prominent. Thomasin McKenzie's character is present day, but has the ability somehow to go back to the 1960s, where Anya Taylor-Joy is kind of like taking over her body, her life. So I feel like they're going to be splitting screen time. That's dangerous because I don't know who they're going to push as their lead actress and who they're going to push as supporting. Or are we going to have a Judas Black Messiah situation where they're both supporting, which doesn't make any sense. I'm still upset about that, by the way. I love you, Lakeith. Somebody has to be the lead. So who's it going to be? I'm literally going out on a limb and I'm saying Anya Taylor-Joy just because of her kind of like prominence in Hollywood right now. And honestly, if she didn't get nominated for this one, there's still a couple other projects that she could get nominated for. We actually mentioned her earlier. She's going to be in Canterbury Glass. I'm almost positive that's going to be a supporting role, but nonetheless, she has The Northman coming up this year, I hope. But she is everywhere and absolutely kills it when she shows up on screen. The Academy has got to take notice. The Emmys and the Globes took notice of Queen's Gambit, and she pretty much swept for those awards. So hopefully she gets some notoriety, and hopefully she has enough screen time where she's the lead actress in Last Night in Soho. But this is easily in my top 3 films that I've most anticipated for 2021. And I hope Last Night in Soho is just racking up nominations on Oscar morning. But Anya Taylor-Joy, my number 3 most likely to get nominated for Last Night in Soho. All right, guys, my number 2 most likely to get nominated for Best Actress is another trailer that we just got a few weeks ago for the first time finally. And it's Jennifer Hudson's portrayal of Aretha Franklin in Respect. So it's a biopic. It's a music biopic, obviously, based on the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. Whenever a notable Academy winner/nominee from the past takes on a real-life either actor or musician, they tend to show up in the nominations, at least like in the conversation. Now, what I fear with Respect is that it's going to be similar to like a Judy situation where Renee Zellweger gave the performance of her life and career as Judy Garland in that movie. But the movie fell a little flat for a lot of people. And I also mentioned Natalie Portman and Jackie is similar in that way as well, where the performance, you just can't deny it. But the movie and the project as a whole is not like amazing Oscar caliber. But the one performance is so good that even if it gets crapped on critically, you have to nominate it. You could look at Glenn Close and Hillbilly Elegy last year. Not a great movie. The critical community didn't love it, but Close's performance in that was so damn good that there was no way to not nominate it because everybody in Hollywood looked at it and went, there's nothing better than that. That's easily one of the best performances of the year. So I think we might have a similar situation with Respect. I don't know. I just know that music biopics are really tough. They're really tough, especially since they've been done so much and they've been kind of beat into the ground. But I do know that Jennifer Hudson is not only an amazing actress, but an amazing singer. So this harkens back to my Lady Gaga pick. For a lot of the same reasons I said Gaga, I'm saying Jennifer Hudson. And I feel like Jennifer Hudson, especially being a singer and kind of living through that life herself, is going to really connect to this role on a personal level. I'm sure she was personally influenced by Aretha Franklin. And to be able to play that icon, it's got to be daunting, but I think she's going to kill it because I saw the trailer. I've seen different clips of her portrayal. And I think Forrest Whitaker, Mary J. Blige, a lot of other actors and actresses that have been nominated and or won at the Academy are involved in this project. I'm not super familiar with Leslie Tomei, the director, but I do know that Jennifer Hudson is an Oscar darling, and they love Aretha Franklin. They love music biopics. They love when actors take on these iconic people in history and knock it out of the park. And I feel like Jennifer Hudson's going to do that. I'm predicting her to easily get nominated for an Academy Award next year. All right, guys. My number 1 most likely actress to get a nomination next year is Ana de Armas from a movie called Blonde, where she portrays Marilyn Monroe. The last time Marilyn Monroe was portrayed on film was by Michelle Williams in a film called My Week with Marilyn, and she got nominated for that and did an amazing job in that film. The Academy loves movies about themselves. They love movies about the history of Hollywood. They love movies about Hollywood icons. The film could literally be a giant turd, and if somebody is able to project and portray a Hollywood icon in a favorable light that puts new eyeballs on that historical story, the Academy, 9 times out of 10, will literally jump all over it. You can look at a film most recently, Mank, which in my opinion was not a great film. There were a lot of great technical things about Mank. I won't get into it here, but I wasn't a huge fan of the story of the film, really even of Oldman's performance, even though I love Gary Oldman. But that was Herman Mankiewicz. That was the writer for arguably the greatest movie of all time, and definitely one of the greatest Academy movies of all time in Citizen Kane. Now, with that being said, Ana de Armas is hot right now. Knives Out specifically, Blade Runner a few years ago. She has a name for herself. She's up and coming. She's literally on fire in Hollywood right now. I think the movie's going to get nominated. I think possibly Andrew Dominik will get nominated for director. And I absolutely 100% think that Ana de Armas will get nominated for Best Actress. She's my #1 most likely to receive that nomination. The photos and still images from the set that I've seen of her as Marilyn are literally uncanny, unbelievable. I mean, she absolutely, even better than Michelle Williams in that respect, just really, really looks like Marilyn Monroe. And, we'll have to see with the mannerisms and the speech and that kind of stuff. But I got to think that she's such a seasoned actress that she's going to knock it out of the park. And if she does, she's absolutely getting a nomination. In fact, right now, she's my front runner to win this award. They didn't give it to Michelle Williams. They do love Marilyn Monroe. She's one of the hugest icons in all of Hollywood. So let's give not only Ana de Armas's portrayal, but let's give Marilyn Monroe this award. Such a tragic, life that was cut short, that is so impactful in the history of Hollywood. Marilyn Monroe is such a image that's associated with the Hollywood lore, and I think that's why Ana de Armas is a lock for a nomination, if not a win, at next year's Academy Awards. So there you have it, guys. That was my top 10 actresses that I think have the best shot at getting a nomination for Best Actress at next year's Academy Awards. Who did I leave off? I know there were some. Guys, don't take this too seriously. It's my personal preference. It's my wishful thinking. It's my wish list that I'm going to give to Santa Claus next year. Who do you think is going to get nominated? Who should get nominated? Do you care? Is this way too early? Leave all that information for me down below in the comments, and please subscribe to my channel. I will be back with more Oscars predictions in the next month or two. I'll do Best Actor, and then I'll branch out to the 2 supporting categories as well. I'll see you guys next time in the garage.